not fitted to deal? These are some of the questions. What objects are our understandings fitted to deal? With what objects are they not fitted to deal? So in a response to these questions, Locke introduces his empiricist epistemology, which is based on an ideation theory of meaning and a representationalist notion of what we can even say a kind of representational semantics follows from that. How John Locke establishes the foundations of empiricist philosophy, and to establish these foundations he has to refute something, the notion of innate ideas, the idea that the mind is already filled with certain ideas at the time of birth. The mind when it appears, when it makes appearance in this world, is already filled with certain ideas. So this is the notion which John Locke tries to refute, and he instead provides his own account of knowledge, how knowledge is possible. And here he brings us concepts like ideas, how ideas, he actually advocates a kind of ideation theory of knowledge, a kind of representationalism, which gives a lot of importance to experience as a fundamental source of knowledge. And the notion of ideas and their origins is extremely important in this context. And again here when he talks about ideas, he divides ideas into two groups, primarily into two groups, the simple ideas and complex ideas. So we will see that. And then when he talks about the different kinds of ideas, the different types of ideas we form, he talks about ideas of modes, ideas of substances, and ideas of relations. And this is very important because it is from this notion of different types of ideas, particularly the idea of substance, that his immediate successor George Berkeley found objectionable. And then later on we would see David Hume also develops his notion of empiricist philosophy on the basis of refuting Locke on some of these fundamental assumptions. Now let us straight away come to Locke's problem. As I have already mentioned, how knowledge is obtained is the most important question, not only for Locke but for the entire modern philosophy. And Locke seeks to establish the importance of experience, the empiricist foundations in response to this question, the most important question, the epistemological problem which modern philosophy considered as perennial. What is the source of knowledge? Epistemology, as all of us know, deals with knowledge, the kinds of knowledge, the varieties of knowledge, the sources of knowledge, and the limitations of knowledge. But when it talks about how the very foundation of knowledge, the very origin of knowledge, there you have the two opposing traditions of rationalism and empiricism. One group of philosophers, the rationalists, would argue that all knowledge is innate to the mind. They are in one sense Platonist, who would say that the soul knows everything in advance. It's only recollection, Plato's theory of recollection. So in one sense the rationalists are Platonist. They all believe that knowledge is essentially embedded in the soul, and when we know something we are only recollecting what we already know. On the other hand, Locke wanted to emphasize that experience plays a very important role in the process of knowledge acquisition, and that is what makes the empiricist school very important. And later on we would see that Immanuel Kant was trying to negotiate between these two schools of these two opposing traditions in modern philosophy, and tries to present an epistemology for modern science as well. And what objects are our understandings fitted to deal with? What objects are they not fitted to deal? These are some of the questions. What objects are our understandings fitted to deal? With what objects are they not fitted to deal? So in a response to these questions, Locke introduces his empiricist epistemology, which is based on an ideation theory of meaning and a representationalist notion of what we can even say a kind of representational semantics follows from that. And Locke has written an essay concerning human understanding, which is considered as one of the foundational works in empiricist epistemology. Locke himself says in this essay that an inquiry, I read, an inquiry into the understanding pleasant and useful. It is an inquiry into the understanding pleasant and useful, since it is the understanding that sets man above the rest of sensible beings and gives him all the advantage and dominion which he has over them. So Locke says that we need to conduct such an inquiry into human understanding, and the essay deals with that, to inquire into the original certainty and extent of human knowledge together with the grounds and degrees of belief, opinion and essence. So this sentence in a sort summarizes the entire Lockean project, that Locke seeks to inquire into the original certainty and extent of human knowledge together with the grounds and degrees of belief, opinion and assent. So there are two aspects here. One is a psychological aspect, a psychological question concerning the origin of our ideas. Another one is an epistemological question concerning certainty, grounds, etc. And John Locke does not seem to be making a very sharp distinction between these two concerns. For him at least, they are intimately interlinked and interconnected. So it is to seek the origin and certainty of our ideas. From where do they come from? How certain they are? These are some of the questions. And when we enter into this book, his essay, the book 1, which deals with the principles nor ideas are innate, which actually sets out to refute what is known as innate ideas, the notion of innate ideas. I have already explained this, that briefly mentioned this, that this notion of innate ideas, it assumes that human mind already comes to this world with a set of imprinted notions. The mind already possesses